Hi there guys, Sam here. Welcome to another video where I go through the Focus RS versus the VW Golf R. So I'll get straight into the video really. So you join me once again. I hope everyone is well. I'm once again not in my Golf R. If you're not familiar with the channel, I own a Mark 7 Golf R. I have done for the last almost 3 years. Plenty of videos on this channel around that. But also on my channel, I'm quite passionate about like fast forwards. Love the Focus RS, love the Fiesta ST. We've got a Fiesta ST. I had one for about 4 years. And I also do a bit of Porsche content. So if you're not familiar with this channel, those are the kind of things you can expect. I like to do kind of like latest videos as well. So new Mark 8 Golf R coming out. I'm going to start doing a few videos on the Mark 4 Focus RS coming out. So stay tuned for bits of that. And generally automotive content. I love my hot hatches. So yeah, that's a little brief overview of my channel. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and give this video a like. It makes a huge difference for a small YouTuber like myself. So just a bit of a context around the video. So both the Focus RS, the Mark II, and the VW Golf R, the Mark 7, essentially are off sale now. They're set to eventually be replaced. As I mentioned before, the Focus RS will eventually be replaced by the Mark IV, hopefully, and the Golf R will be eventually replaced by the Mark 8, probably come out next year, maybe a bit delayed because of all the virus stuff. And two cars that are massively important to me, and I'll explain towards the end of the video why that is. But let's just go through kind of the initial kind of specs of both cars, and we'll start with the Focus RS. So the Focus RS is a brief overview, as you can see up there. Started at around £31,000. You could put a few options on it, kind of raise it to about £35,000. It had a 2.3 litre EcoBoost engine, 4-cylinder, had around 345 brake horsepower, 6-speed manual transmission, 4-wheel drive. Cracking stuff. It was also in production from around 2016 to around 2018. So only around 2 years, so it's quite a short lifespan, but they did manage to sell quite a few of them due to their popularity. The Golf R, as you can see from the specs up there, from a 5-door DSG version, because that was kind of the most popular variant, started from around £33,000, had a 2 litre turbo engine, 4-cylinder, 296 brake horsepower. In the Mark 7 it started off with a 6-speed DCT automatic gearbox. Later facelift models had a 7-speed, but it also had a 6-speed manual gearbox, which is exactly like mine, so it did have both options. It was also 4-wheel drive. So those are just the little specs. So let's just talk a little bit about the Focus RS. So I was obsessed with this car, you know, all the build up, all the hype of it. It was huge. You know, Ken Block did so many kind of presentations on it. It had a big kind of following around it. You know, there was even like documentaries around sort of like building a Focus RS and how they developed it and everything, and all the work that went into it. And it really did build up the hype. And to be honest, I don't think it disappointed at all. The signature colour was nitrous blue. It was a sort of a special metallic paint. Cost around sort of £800 as kind of an add-on to your car. It was definitely the standout colour, and as you can see from some cracking pictures on the screen, it was kind of almost like a road-going rally car in some ways. It had that sort of just fling it around kind of attitude. It had a drift mode. It had just the fun, excitement, the pops and the bangs that you could kind of ever wish for. And it was a car I was looking at for quite a long time. But let me just get straight into the quick pros and cons. So I have driven this car, I test drove it. It was on my list when I was looking to get a new car, sort of 3 or 4 years ago. And certainly pros wise, there's more pros than cons. It's so much fun, just from the noise. The handling was sort of the main part of it. You know, you just had to take it around one roundabout and it put such a huge smile on your face. It was still practical. It was still essentially just a Focus. You'd use a little bit of boot space from the 4-wheel drive, but to be honest with you, still just as practical as a normal Focus. It kept kind of the tradition of what I'd kind of call a fast forward. And it certainly warranted holding that RS badge. Other pros is that it actually has fantastic residuals, particularly in the UK where they were so sought after. So if you actually, your total cost of ownership of the car is actually really, really strong. And in fact, even used values today, you can't really get one for anything less than £20,000, and that sort of rises up to kind of 30, 35, £40,000 for some of the more special editions. Cons wise, can look a little bit shouty to some people. Maybe the colour's the main thing of that. You know, if I was to get one, it would probably be in sort of like a stealth grey. Being the fact that it's a road car, I kind of want to be under the radar. hence why I have my Golf R in grey. The infotainment and the interior wasn't the best, but to be honest that never really bothered me, but it can be a con to some people. Probably the main con of the car was its firm ride. Even with sort of like its adaptive settings, it either got hard or harder. I essentially compared it pretty much exactly the same to the Fiesta ST I had at the time, and it was no softer than that. It was very, very hard. And on UK roads, it's difficult to have that kind of ride as a daily. But as an actual one-time blast or a weekend blast, or if your commute is small, it kind of tick the boxes for everything. The only other con, and this is from other people's reviews as well, fuel economy isn't that great because of the big power. It's still quite a heavy car, which isn't great, unfortunately. You know, it's over 1,500 kilos, which is a lot for a hot hatch. But despite that, because of the power, it's still fast, rapid fun. It's got a lot of things going for it. And if you do own a Focus RS, I know a lot of you are probably working from home or having a little bit more time off away from your car. You know, I'm desperate to get out in my Golf R, if I'm honest with you. Let us know in the comments just a little brief overview of your experience with the Focus RS, because that'd be really, really useful. Because I have seen a few negative things, you know, about issues with the engine. You know, they did have to get replaced under warranty, certain parts of it. You know, it's not always the best thing for an ownership proposition of a car. But now we're sort of in 2020, you'd like to think all those things are kind of rectified anyway, and it can just go about its day being a normal Focus, whilst also being a super fun hot hatch. Moving away from the Focus RS onto the Golf R. So again, I've got so many videos in the back catalogue around this car, and a lot of my subscribers obviously know plenty about it. And I can certainly give a lot more information from my experience over the last 3 years of kind of driving it. One main pro is it has sort of no compromises really. It still works so well as a daily. It's a complete under the radar car. Interior is really nice. Infotainment's good. It's still fun on a back road. You can still take it for a nice fun drive. Build quality is really, really good. I mean, nothing rattles in that car for me, and I'm coming up to sort of 29,000 miles in the car now, and those are just some of the pros. Cons wise, I would say sometimes I'd like it to be a little bit more fun when you're going for a weekend blast, or you know, you're just taking it on a little bit of a road trip or something. You want that little bit, something extra special, which to be honest I found the Focus RS did have. So that can always be a little bit annoying. But at the same time, I try to also kind of compare it to just an ordinary car. And if you compare it to an ordinary car, it's so much more fun and engaging. And I really do encourage you, if you've never owned a hot hatch or something like that, do buy one, try it out. To be honest, I don't actually have too many other cons about it, because reliability's been really good for me. I haven't had any issues at all with the car. It's been quite cost effective for me as well. It's not been that expensive. Again, residuals are quite strong on Golf Rs anyway. Mine's kind of no exception. Perhaps not as good as the RS, but still not bad. Yeah, and I did try and think of some cons of the car. Can't really think of too many. I think it's such a great all-rounder, and maybe that in itself can be a bit of a con, because maybe it doesn't excel in any kind of attribute. It's just fantastic as an all-rounder. Works fantastic as a daily. So then, kind of comparing the two cars, if you're an enthusiast like myself, and you like your hot hatches, you'll be well aware of these two cars. There's certainly cars that I kind of aspire to, and I still feel fortunate that I've been able to have a Golf R kind of in my life for the last 3 years, and before that I had a Mark 7 Fiesta ST for 4 years, which is brilliant. It's sort of, you know, I've built up memories with those that I'll never kind of forget, and such brilliant cars, doing the daily stuff, both of them, and still being fun at the same time. So in terms of a brief overview, which one you should go to. Now, it's all personal opinion in terms of what kind of car you like, but as a brief kind of overview, if you want something that's absolutely brilliant on a weekend and you have a short commute, Focus RS is probably the best to go for. If you do a fair few more miles, but you still want something to be quite fun, I'd say the Golf R is the one to go for. Like for like, if you're looking kind of like on the used market in the UK, you can get Golf Rs for sort of as low as sort of £14,000, up to sort of around £20,000 for not a bad Golf R. Obviously it can rise from that. Focus RSs, you can't really get them less than 21,000, even for like a 16 plate, quite high miler car. And that rises anywhere up to sort of like 25 to 30 and upwards. In fact, the RS Heritage Edition
I've seen some adverts for it going for about sort of £70,000, so that kind of tells you how much people value that badge, certainly more so than they do on the Golf R. Now, kind of in another life, I probably would have had a Focus RS, and in fact when I test drove it back in 2016, I pretty much came off the back of that telling people that's the car I'm going to get. So much more entertaining than a Golf R, so much more entertaining than an AMG A45, more entertaining than like an M135i or an M140, all the other stuff that I test drove, and I was like, I'm going to get that car. And on the day I test drove it, sitting with the salesperson, and to be honest, that's probably the best time to kind of convince someone to get a car, and they didn't convince me to get it because they wanted to charge me about £38,000. It's because I was test driving it at the time of the hype of the car. It was probably the worst time to try and look for one, but I couldn't justify paying that amount of money, despite as much as I loved it and kind of dreamed about it. And in fact, even the build-up press kind of pictures, and quite frustratingly I find, from the RS launch, it actually had a slightly darker blue, which is certainly a colour I would have gone for, probably more so than the nitrous blue, but it still reminds me of that whole kind of hype of the car. So ultimately I was kind of put off by price, and having still been in my Fiesta ST and found that so much fun, I didn't necessarily think it was a huge step up in fun. If anything, it was probably about the same. So I struggled to kind of justify it in that sense, so I didn't go for it. And you know, I've gone for a Golf R, I've shared it with you guys on the channel if you're familiar and you're a subscriber, and that was mainly down to price. It was far cheaper than a Focus RS, and the fact that I felt more comfortable using it every day. You know, I have unfortunately a big commute. For me it's about 120 miles. Although I do work from home a couple of days a week, it's still quite a lot to put on, and I just think it probably would have been a bit too hard for me on the Focus RS. So that's what I went for, and hopefully that information has helped you out. One thing that I can say about both these two cars is that what always made me smile and laugh is A, their affordability, B, their performance, and C, the fact that it's just funny that a Ford Focus and a VW Golf can be more entertaining and faster than, you know, sort of a 40, 50, 60,000 pound Porsche at the time. And I just always found that hilarious. And you know, I said it to people when the Focus RS was coming out. I was like, a Ford Focus just, you know, doing 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds. It's just ridiculous. And it's certainly something I wanted to be a part of, and I'm glad I'm sort of within that sort of hot hatch era, really, because we should be fortunate that it's here. And just like my Golf R, I'm aching to get out for a drive in it, being sort of cooped up and not being allowed outside because of this virus. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on what you think about the Golf R and the Focus RS from your ownership experience. And I know a lot of my subscribers are Golf R owners, and please do comment as well, because a lot of people that view my videos, probably about 90%, are not actually subscribers. So you guys who are subscribed, who actually watch my videos, put something in the comments about your sort of ownership experience of the Golf R and how you think it compares to the Focus RS. It will certainly help people out. And vice versa, if you've got a Focus RS and you're watching this, put something in the comments as well. Please give this a like and share for plenty more content to come. Yeah, it's certainly an active channel, kind of told you what it's all about, and I enjoy sharing the content. I've got a video out tomorrow as well, which is also more fast forward related actually, so please stay tuned for that. I think it will be a good one. But thanks so much for watching, keep safe, keep well, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers guys.